All right, so the next kind of texture that I'm going to show you is wood. And there's some different ways to do wood. So we are going to take this square and we are going to divide it in half. So we're going to do a horizontal line to divide it in half. Then we are going to draw 2 vertical lines on the top half, leaving some space in between the 2 of them. So we're going to do 2 different, essentially, kinds of bark, like 2 different ways that you could shade bark on trees. And then we're going to do a method of like a sheet of plywood or like the cabinet top texture of wood. Okay. So the first one is just kind of a traditional, really basic wooden tree. So to start it off, you would just kind of have some vertical lines that play off each other, very similar to how the texture of the wooden plank is going to look, right? So I have my wavy curved lines in there, and then from there, I'm going to add value to them because in order to show texture, we have to start to add value. And I'm going to shade around my line so that it's dark. And as I get away from that line, it's going to gradually get lighter. And it's going to gradually get lighter. It's going to come over into this other line. And then when you get to the next line, it's kind of the same thing. So this is like my little knot in my tree. So I want to shade inside here, kind of dark. And then I'm going to come away from it. It's going to get lighter. And this side over here is the outside of my tree. So I want to make sure that the edge is nice and dark. Okay, so that would be my wood texture 1. My super basic tree, basic texture here. Then if we want to think about like a pine tree, like the texture on a pine tree, they're kind of in these oval shapes. So the next kind of texture that we can do is like these kind of oblongy oval shapes that are all mushed into each other. They don't have to really follow any kind of pattern or row. You can have some that are bigger and smaller, some that are a little more round, some that are really, oval shaped, more circular, not round. Circular was the word I was looking for. And then when you're doing this kind of texture, you're going to want to make sure that you have a sharper pencil lead, because from here, what we're going to do is we're going to do some cross hatching inside here. Just like with our bricks, we had to do dots and lines. So for our wooden texture on this tree, we're doing cross hatching. And you'll notice my lines are really only close together and they're dark on one side, not both sides. So I'm not filling the whole thing in with my lines, just part of it. And I kind of twist my pencil as I'm drawing, and that just helps keep my point sharp so it doesn't dull out while I'm drawing. Okay. Then once I have all that done, I'm going to go back and I'm going to add just a little bit of shading into it because I don't want my tree bark to be as white as my background. So we want a different value tone in there. So I'm just going to really lightly shade over the areas individually, not as a whole. I'm just going to shade into real lightly, not a lot of pressure, into each individual little area. Because when I go over each individual area, I still have the option to leave some nice white spots for a little bit of highlight, as if, you know, the light was shining on the tree or something. Okay. Then your last texture that we said that we're going to do is like a piece of wood, like a piece of plywood. Okay. So to do that, we're still going to start out with our lines. So everything pretty much starts out with lines. I'm going to do my lines here like it was a piece of plywood. And then from here, I have to go in and add my value tones in my shading. Okay, I'm going to put a little knot in the center of mine. I'm going to start around my lines, and then same concept, I got to add my value. So from the line in, it's going to go dark to light. And I don't twist my pencil in my hand when doing these value tones because I want to get like a chiseled edge on my pencil. Because it's much harder to shade with a point than it is like a flat chiseled edge. So I try not to turn the pencil in my hand as much as when I was doing the cross hatching. And I don't put a lot of pressure on my pencil in order to get the value tones darker. I'm just simply layering and going over the same spot over and over again to get the area a little darker.